Hey up, welcome to another Restrap bikepacking video. This one we're going to look at our top 5 touring mistakes. They're all the boo-boos that we've made at some point in the past. Talk you through them so you don't make them as well. Mistake number 1, under and overpacking, and both are as bad as each other in some ways. But let's do overpacking first, since we're stood next to this beautiful bike. And it's got virtually every single bit of luggage that Restrap makes strapped to it. And if you're about to travel around the world, then fantastic, you may need to carry this kind of stuff. If you're going away for a weekend, it's probably overkill, to be honest. And the reality is, everything that you pack, you then have to carry with you the entire way. And more than just being overkill, it's a huge amount of extra weight that you're going to have to carry up every hill, and as your mates disappear up the hill on their lightweight setups, you're going to be ruining the fact that you've brought the kitchen sink with you. So have a little think about what's really fundamentally important to staying comfortable and staying safe. Everything else leave behind for when you get home and enjoy the creature comforts. Flip side to that though is underpacking, and it's definitely something that I've been guilty of on a few occasions, particularly when I've been racing. And just bringing the minimum amount of kit, particularly stuff like sleeping bags. I've brought really tiny little ones. I've not bothered bringing a sleeping mat, and ultimately just had a really uncomfortable night and not really slept that much. Just about warded off hypothermia, but not a lot else. So have a real think about what's going to be important to you. I guess what are you aiming to get out of the trip? If you don't mind traveling slowly and hauling around a little bit of extra stuff, then don't worry too much about it, but just be sensible either way. So mistake number 2, poor route planning. So we're going away bikepacking, you kind of want to get a decent ride in, want to make it feel worthwhile. But one of the number 1 mistakes, I think we've certainly talking to the guys at Restrap, we've all made at some point in the past is overestimating how far we can ride on a particular day. Either misjudging the kind of terrain that we're going to be crossing, or just wanting to go for something a bit epic. And maybe doing that for one day is not too bad, but when you're doing that on another day and another day and another day, and it doesn't really give you time to stop and enjoy what you're doing, or actually you're just utterly knackered and can't complete the route, that's not a whole lot of fun. One of the other mistakes that we've made, or it's easy to make, is not thinking about where you might need to stop to refuel. So planning a route that doesn't pass through any towns and villages is quite limiting in terms of you then got to carry everything with you. So just have a little think about where you're going to need to refuel, and is there a convenient town or village that you can pass through to be able to make the most of. Have a little think about, are there any bike shops along the route? So if you have mechanical, is there somewhere that you can actually go and get your bike fixed? Actually going to the effort of trying to work out what kind of terrain you're going to be riding as well. Actually tools like Komoot are really good in that they will tell you whether it's a gravel track or completely off-road or tarmac, and you can begin to have a judgment around how long it will take you to ride that. And actually looking at the contours on a map as well. Is there going to be a huge amount of climb and descent, or is it a relatively flat ride? And all of that can have a big impact in terms of how long a route takes you and the kind of day out that you're going to be having. Mistake number 3, and just essentially not practicing before heading out on a big trip. It's amazing watching some of these epic trips cross country, so multiple days or weeks of riding, and it's certainly something that I think a lot of us aspire to doing. But generally we'd suggest starting a little bit smaller to start off with. Just a weekend trip from the doorstep is fantastic for just getting used to your kit. First of all, understanding how your bike handles when you've got it loaded. It does handle differently to when you're riding normally. And then just getting to know how your kit works, how to put up your tent, how to work your stove, what kind of food you like eating, what daily mileage you feel comfortable doing day after day. And a whole world of other things that you can watch our videos and get some great tips on. But until you do it yourself, you won't really understand what works for you and what doesn't. Mistake number 4, not preparing your kit. So even on a relatively short bikepacking trip, you're going to be packing in more miles and more riding than you would do on a few weeks of normal rides. So it's worth just making sure your bike's up to the task. So it's some of the basic maintenance stuff that maybe you've not got around to doing yet. So checking that your brake pads have got plenty of life left in them, gears are shifting okay, that your drivetrain's not worn out, stuff like chain and cassette, make sure that they're well lubed, that they're well looked after. bearings are all running smoothly. It's all the things that you could potentially just about get away with for a short ride, but the last thing that you want is some major mechanical that you could have avoided because you didn't do that maintenance beforehand. Mistake number 5, treating it like a race. I mean, obviously, if it is a race, then ignore this bit, but if it's a race, then you should probably be training rather than watching videos at the moment. But for the rest of us, we're doing this for fun. Bikepacking is meant to be fun. But one of the things that I love doing now is I stop and take photographs while I'm out riding. Stop and have a swim in a lake if that's what you want to do. Have a pint with the locals. The best experiences that I've had while I've been bikepacking generally haven't been the bits while I've been riding. It's all those little bits in between. It's the getting to enjoy the little villages that you pass through in the Alps, chatting to the locals when you're filling up your water bottles, enjoying some of the local cuisine rather than simply eating freeze-dried food every night. It's really hard to quantify how much that means in terms of enjoying the experience. So yeah, just give yourself a chance and time to be able to do that. So hopefully those tips have given you some of the basic mistakes to try and avoid while out bikepacking. I'm sure you will continue making some of those mistakes. I'm pretty sure I'm going to make those mistakes again, but hopefully it gives you something to avoid. And in the meantime, stay safe and enjoy your bikepacking. Planning an overnighter and I just want an hour or two spin, then this is my usual setup. just bring the essentials.